Hello.
Hello.
Hello. David was asking how you were doing. He follows you.
Does he?
Yeah. Hi, Joe. Hi, Theo. Hi, everyone. Today, for now, I'm in a really freaking good mood. And most of you probably know why I'm in a really freaking good mood. Because, well, there are lots of reasons to be. One of them is, hi, Natlin. Hi, Tim. Hi, Patty. Hi, Nazar. Hi, OMG Lily. Hi, Joe. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Kari. Hi, Prexis. Hi, everyone. So, good news today. Very, 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 very. Yes, I'm literally wearing these earrings because they are the Ukrainian wheat spikelets. And today I feel like more than ever, they're very appropriate. Fatal Jester on YouTube is asking, hi, Christa, is asking if I have an email that he can send me something to, or she, that they'd like me to cover. Yes, my email is in my link in bio. If you go there, you can find it there, but also it's just hello@yewleea.design. So you can email it there. Hi, Jaden. Hi, Kat. Hi, Jen. Both Jens. But yes, so today Ukraine launched a major counteroffensive that no one expected. So one of the things that I wanted to point out before I say anything is I know I cover a lot of international sources that talk about how they see the counteroffensive. But the thing is that the Institute for the Study of War and other think tanks, and even British intelligence, they do their analysis based on how the battle is going right now, right? So they could be saying, let's say, oh, this war in Ukraine will be going on for X amount of time because based on these factors. And they're looking at how the warfare has been happening and is happening. So they're analyzing things that have happened with some intel. Now, Zelensky had a super secret, basically like a super classified meeting 3 days ago. And within Ukraine, there has been a lot of talk about a major counteroffensive, and a lot of our officials have been talking about a major counteroffensive. Yet international sources weren't really paying a lot of attention to it because, again, they're analyzing warfare as it is to date, right? So today, what had happened is the armed forces of Ukraine launched one of the most major counteroffensives we're probably going to see in this warfare in general, because they have launched a counteroffensive onto every direction in the south. And one of those directions is Kherson. Now, if you look at Dia and at other like inner Ukrainian sources of information, all of the residents of Kherson, thank you, Dora, and thank you, Jen, all of the residents of Kherson have been notified by the armed forces of Ukraine to stay in safe places, to have med kits available, to basically get prepared for a lot of fighting, because the battle for, like, as it says in my title to this news stream today, the battle for Kherson is on. Like, it's really, really on. And not only is the battle for Kherson on today, there have been major strikes on the enemy points in Berdyansk, in Zhytomyr, in most southern cities. So it's not just like piece of news, we're taking Kherson back. Like, no, we are changing the front line. So Ukraine has broken through the defense line of the front line. Ukraine has broken through, basically, like, in layman's terms, Ukraine has broken through the closest positions of Russians that have been holding their area. And now also, based on the news from the Institute for the Study of War, from the British intelligence, Russia does not have enough resources to keep those places. And we have been seeing a lot of artillery action on the Ukrainian side. We have been seeing a lot of aircraft action on the side of Ukraine. Thank you, Dubsy. This is big. Depending on how it's going to go, this is the point at which we're going to be taking back all of the occupied territories. And this is just a start, right? So this is a start to the counteroffensive. This is where basically the warfare changes. Because up until this moment, Ukraine was majorly on the defensive and in some places on the offensive. Now, Ukraine is on the offensive because Russia hasn't been able to capture any new territories or conduct any successful offensive actions for a while now. And so Ukraine has now transitioned from so now Ukraine has transitioned from being on the defense side to being on the offense side. So this is a major breakthrough in warfare. It's major, major, major breakthrough for Ukraine. Now, we're not going to say anything, for the future because we never know how things are going to go, but this is the pivotal point of this war. So for me personally, it is a very big day to kind of celebrate. My dad is like a very pragmatic person, and he's like, let's see what happens. And I'm like, I'm not celebrating a win. I'm celebrating the fact that this is the beginning of something different, right? So I personally am incredibly happy. I am very excited to see how this is going to go. I really hope that our boys and girls are going to stay safe. I really hope that they're going to stay healthy and stay uninjured in large numbers. Obviously, this is warfare, so a counteroffensive doesn't only mean all good things. A counteroffensive also means that there are going to be huge losses because it is active, really, really active warfare. And it is very dangerous, and most of these people know what they're all of these people know what they're signing up for, and a lot of them might not come back, unfortunately. And this is just realities of war. Now, Russians have been evacuating from Melitopol. So they have been evacuating from Crimea. They have been evacuating from Melitopol. Another piece of really huge news for this counteroffensive is Ukraine has disabled all of across the Dnipro River. So Ukraine has literally disabled all of the crossings through the Dnipro River. So all of the Russians basically that were stuck on the other side can't get back. And the Russians that were on the side that's their like frontline side, they can get through. So or like, the one thing that I can hear in my head anytime I read that headline is like, how in The Sims when something shitty happens, like, I don't know if like there is like the sink leaks or something like that. It's like there is that like very particular Sims sound of something terrible happening in your like household or something like unfortunate. And that's just all that keeps playing in my head. So yeah. But good news for the armed forces of Ukraine today. Good news for Ukraine. Are they still saying no war in Russia? No, they're not saying no war. It's just that they're calling it a special operation. So actually, after talking to a bunch of Russians in chat roulette, which you guys have, so the chat roulette episode yesterday where I was talking to a Russian who turned, before we get into the news, yesterday I went on chat roulette to talk to Russians, as I sometimes do. And there was one person that I was talking to for a while. And at the end of it, it turned out that he was a Russian software engineer who lives in Australia, in Melbourne. And he, in fact, saw my live beforehand, and he went and literally found me through his software meddling to be able to talk to me on chat roulette. So from the beginning of that conversation, he knew who he was talking to, and he knew all of my views. And I did have a very lengthy conversation with him. And then he did say that he knew I spoke Russian and Ukrainian, and he knew, he basically knew everything. And I was like, what? Whatever, because I'm not going to break character. Like, I don't know if you do know, right? So I'm not going to like let you down easy. But then he went on TikTok and actually appeared in the comments here, and he was talking about it. So he was watching the TikTok stream before I had ever found him before I had ever like gotten to speak to him on chat roulette. And I was like, oh, So you found me before I found you. And he was like, no, I found you both times. But so anyways, I took down that news stream temporarily because he did ask me to block his face out because of personal reasons. So I am going to do that because I'm not I'm not a shit person, and I'm gonna blur his face out. So while the video is processing and the face is being blurred, the stream is down. It should be up. It should be back up in about an hour or two. So if you're interested, it's definitely going to be available evening time. But anyways, so then as to the Russians and the war, no. So the Russians are not saying that there is no war. The problem, like, here is what I realized after talking to a lot of Russians. Happy Counteroffensive Day. Thank you. Thank you, Kay. You didn't miss much. But basically, speaking of Russians and war, because I've been talking to so many of them, here's what I realized. It's not that they deny that there is a war. They fully understand there is one. It's just that they're not calling it a war, they're calling it a special operation. And when I asked one of them what the difference is between the war and a special operation, happy birthday, bartender. When I asked them what the difference is between the war and a special operation, they said that, a lot of them had said that a special operations is light artillery and light weapons, and a war is hardcore weapons. Well, my question is, what can be more hardcore than leveling cities to the ground in Ukraine? They said no, cities in Ukraine are not leveled to the ground, and they're not targeting anything in Ukraine. Donbas is not Ukraine, and it's Ukraine that's targeting Donbas with heavy weapons. So in Russia, the people who believe in the special operation, they fully understand that there is warfare going on. It's just that they think that Ukraine is the side that's bombing things, and Russia is the side that's basically defending those territories, and that the reason why it's special operation is because Russia is only using artillery. So there is that. That is the difference between the war and the special operation, according to Russians. And no, they're not denying there is a war. They're just denying calling it a war. So that's what I've gathered by talking to them. Aren't you supposed to have a pack of cigarettes tucked under your left shoulder? Huh? Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, I mean, there is a lot of weird stuff, and there is a lot of denial there. There is a lot of just kind of like delusion there. That's just what it is, unfortunately, and that's what it's going to be. Thank you, Samuel. Different, yes. They're using anything but the nukes. Yeah, that's the thing. But like, here is the whole point. Oh, Samuel and Anastasia. Oh, hi. But that's the whole point. Basically, like they don't know the losses. The losses are not being communicated in Russia. Russians believe that there are barely any losses, and Russians don't think. Thank you, Len. Russians quite literally do not think that losses in their army are as severe as they are. They think there are some, but the magnitude of the losses is not being portrayed at all. And then the losses that are being portrayed through the grapevine are the losses, like, let's say, here is the thing. So in order to understand why it's easy-ish for Russians to hide the losses, you need to understand how they've been employing and recruiting their armed forces to begin with. Most of their armed forces are coming from republics of Russia. So those are people that are Russians by passport, but they're not necessarily Russian by heritage or anything. They have their own republics, they have their own culture, they have their own traditions, they have their own history. They're not Russian. They're basically colonized by Russia, just like everybody else was in Soviet Union, right? And in the Russian Empire. So they recruit their armed forces from those areas because Russians are racist, first of all, and they want to sacrifice the minorities. Also, minorities are the people that are the easiest to recruit because Russia does not put any resources into those territories, and usually there are not that many people who can afford a lot of things. That's why we see them stealing like washing machines and kettles and stuff like that, because they actually can't afford that. So one of the ways they can make money is the army. they don't really get the news the same way that we get the news, because they live like in eastern parts of Russia, super far away. They can't afford the internet, they can't afford modern technology, so they watch TV. And on TV, Привет, Kharkiv, and on TV, it literally says like, hey, Russia's winning, we are suffering no losses, we are suffering no this, we're suffering no that, right? So they're going and they're like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna make a big buck and then I'm gonna come back tomorrow because it looks like this special operation in Ukraine is easy AF. But then they get to the front and they're all like, WTF, because that is not what it was advertised as. And when you hear all of these phone calls from like Russians to their families, they're like, holy crap. Like we're being completely broken to pieces here. Like they have artillery, they have HIMARS, they have all of these weapons. It is not a special operation. It is like a massive war. And then you see their relatives being like, war? What war? What do you mean war? Like we're watching TV, and on TV it's very different. And you know how all of you are like, oh my gosh, they have like the internet and they have all of these like things, right? Not all of them have the internet. Like it is a luxury commodity, okay? Like it's harsh truth, like for real. So there are two genocides happening at the hands of Russia right now. One is the genocide of Ukrainians, and the other, less obvious genocide, is the genocide of the minorities. Because again, this is the easy way of getting rid of the minorities. You just literally send them to war. You send them to die. Another thing is that when these guys come back, if they come back, right? Or if their bodies come back, Привет, Alexandra. If their bodies come back or something like that, then their relatives know that they have died, and the relatives of relatives know, and then other people basically know in your village, right? But how do you spread that information? If you don't have modern means of communication, it's not going to spread as fast, right? Or at all, pretty much, because it's not like they're gonna call everybody of their relatives. Some of them don't have phones. Like if they don't have bathrooms, they don't have gas supplies, they don't have phones, they don't even have landlines, right? A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't have electricity. So it's one of those things where like you can't really like, the reason why they don't know the losses is because those losses are happening in super far remote areas that are not necessarily connected to means of communication to spread that info. And then the rest of them are still reading the news, and they're like sitting in their village, let's say, and they're like, oh, but all of these guys died from our village. Maybe that's just our battalion that wasn't lucky or something like that. Oh my gosh, Ukraine has been the biggest supporter of the colonism. Oh my gosh, like, dude. Good luck with your 5 rubles. I hope that you can still afford vodka with that. I'm not sure you can, but that is probably the only non-imported good in Russia that's going to be left. So you keep doing you. Anyways, today I'm too happy to react to any of the trolls, but basically that is what it is, and that is how this happens, and that's why nobody knows about it. Now that's how they hide the losses, and that's how people literally have no information about the losses. Now, another big point that I want to make is that Russian government recently in Russia released like not a statement. It wasn't necessarily a super public statement, kind of like a rumor a little bit. And also I think it was on Solovyov's program, where he was talking about how Russia is disappointed with the little amount of conscripts from St. Petersburg and Moscow, because basically they've exhausted their ability to draft people from the republics, and now they have to draft them from the, from the superior Russians, from the ethnic Russians that they really didn't want to send to war because they don't want to kill their superior race, But so basically now they're forced to recruit from St. Petersburg and Moscow. But the thing is, people in St. Petersburg and Moscow do have the internet. And they are the people usually who are like, oh, no, this is crazy. Like, we don't want this war, like blah, blah, blah. So usually in bigger cities, those are the people who do have more information. And so they don't want to go to war. Also, they have like in St. Petersburg and Moscow, they have like a decent lifestyle, right? So they don't want to make a quick buck in the army, especially understanding that it's not going to be a quick buck, and especially understanding that they're not going to come back. Привет, mama. Sorry, my mom is here. And so basically they don't want to go to that war. And so they're having a hard time recruiting from these like areas of Russia that are like more educated and have more resources, because, well, they don't buy it. And so they have been having problems all around, because they thought like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to recruit from these areas. This is our last resort. Like, we really didn't want to use the ethnic Russians, but here we go now. This is what we're going to do. But like, surprise, surprise, the ethnic Russians don't want to go to the war. So they're having a huge, huge, huge issue with mobilization. They can't seem to find high malcontent. They can't seem to find anybody who wants to fight. Not only are they struggling with resources, they're now struggling with equipment. They've also used half of the missiles that they had in the beginning of the war. So Russia at this point has fired literally 50% of their missiles available at Ukraine. So they're low on supplies, they're low on artillery, they're low on the military, whatever trained military they had. And by trained, I mean, we've seen how trained they are, but like the military people, those are all gone. And by gone, I mean like they don't exist anymore, right? Because they have been deactivated in Ukraine, or they have been imprisoned in Ukraine. So now, again, low resources, logistic supply issues, their bases have been blown up by Ukraine. They don't have good artillery. They don't have military, because now the people that go into military are civilians that are not trained. And they also have a hard time finding these civilians now. So there is a whole thing. But yes, today, as a lot of people are saying who just joined recently, is a very big day. Today, the front line has broken and Ukraine has started the battle for Kherson. But see, in the news, what I keep seeing is that it's the battle for Kherson. And it's not just the battle for Kherson. It's the battle for the south. So the front line has been broken, and now Ukraine has been making major counteroffensive moves in all directions, in absolutely all southern directions. The only thing is that Kherson is just a city that everybody has been waiting on. It's a big city. It's also something that Westerners know. And this is why it's making like big headlines. But it's not just a Kherson counteroffensive. It's a major, major, major southern counteroffensive. And it comes as a big surprise, not because we didn't think that they were able to do that. It's not because we didn't think that this was gonna like happen so soon. It's just because it was very on like the lowdown. But yeah, this is a major move that everybody has been waiting for. If Kherson gets liberated, when Kherson gets liberated, it's going to be a huge breakthrough. And this today is basically a historical moment for this war, because instead of being in the defense and having small little counteroffensives, Ukraine is now on the offensive and Russia is now on the defensive, which up until today, it was vice versa. Russia was on the offensive and Ukraine was on the defensive, right? And Russia, the way that it happened and why now is the moment to do it is because we've exhausted the Russian artillery. We've exhausted the Russian army. And Russia has not been able to make any territorial gains or do any successful offensives in about a week or two now. Thank you, Nina. So on August 18th, they've stopped being able to capture any territories. So thank you, Karine. So basically, now it's the pivotal breaking point of the war. Привет, Evgeny. And yeah, Punk Unknown on Twitch says, one step closer to Crimea. Это сказки для кого, Татьянка? Татьянка, возьми свой триколор и протри им попку, потому что вот, ну вот скоро только этим можно будет и заниматься, с вот этим вот вашим ганчиркою. Простите, забыла русское слово, потому что как бы, ну, не мой это язык. Anyways, sorry, there's some very cute Russians asking me who I'm telling these fairy tales to, and I'm just like, you know. Anyways, this was this. I hope that Ukrainian people in the chat had a good laugh of that. The fundraiser is going good. The fundraiser is going good. Well, it actually stalled quite a bit, but we are raising money for the for the night vision goggles for the frontline drivers of ambulances on the front lines, because at night they can't use lights because they will be spotted by Russians. So they need those night vision devices for the ambulances. And we have raised $8.5 thousand out of $10,000. So if you would like to donate to the fundraiser, like there are 500 people here, if everybody donated $5, we would be able to buy everything and mounts for them. And we are $1,500 away. So if you would like to donate, it's in my link in bio, and it's called fundraiser, literally, and it says consider this a gift for my birthday. It's not for me. It's just basically I created the fundraiser on my birthday for my birthday. So I wanted to do this as like a big thing. I wanted to be able to do this on my birthday, but unfortunately, you know, my birthday was August 7th. We are on August 29th now, and we are still $1,500 away. And I really hope that we're going to be able to reach our goals soon. But yes, so without further ado, let's deep dive into all of the news about Ukraine. I will be showing pictures. I will be showing videos. I will be showing everything that's available I will be showing everything that is available on my news sources that will show you exactly what's happening on the front lines, and will show you exactly what's been happening in Ukraine in the past 24 hours as related to the war. Now, for all of you guys who are new, my name is Yulia. I live in New York for the past 11 years. I am born and raised Ukrainian. I was born and raised in Lviv and moved out of there when I was 17. And now I live here for a long time. My parents live in Ukraine. My parents are in Lviv. My parents are staying in Lviv, and they never want to leave Ukraine because it's their home. So yeah, basically, hi everybody. This is my little introduction. Nice to meet you, and thank you for caring about Ukraine, and thank you for watching the news. And this is what we're gonna do. Normally, the way that we do this live is I start with the news, and then we do like a little Q&A and catch-up session at the end. So you can also ask questions in the middle of the stream. If you want your question to be answered for sure, I would suggest you go to YouTube. It's the same as here, but the comments are flying less fast there. So there are less people watching on YouTube. So it's easier for me to see your comment and respond to it. If not, then I will try and see it at the end of the stream. Hi, Kay, good to see you. When are you visiting Ukraine? Can you do travel vlogs? The second that my passport arrives, because I had to do a biometric passport, which is what I was doing in Chicago this weekend. The second that my passport gets here, I will be on my way. Where can we read the updated news? There are news sources in my link in bio. Is it harder than being on the defense? Keep your heads down and keep moving, boys and girls. Yes, what are we talking about today? We are talking about Ukraine every day, because that is my country. That's where I was born, and that's where I was raised, and that is the country that I love more than anything. So that's what we do here. I'm from Ukraine. It also literally says it quite literally everywhere. But anyways, so I am going to start on the news. Hi, everybody. And if you have YouTube, I'm also streaming this on YouTube and on Twitch. If that's easier for you, it's right here. And if you ask questions during the news cycle, and if you want to ask a question in the meanwhile I read the news to kind of elaborate on it or something like that, it is easier if you do it on YouTube or Twitch, because the comments there are not as fast as the comments here. Now, without further ado, hi Anna, and I'm going to start the news. For 6 hours, there were more than 200 strikes in Orikhiv, Zaporizhia region. That was during the night while we were sleeping. A 67-year-old woman died in Nikopol as a result of today's shelling. Head of the Dnipropetrovsk RMA, Valentin Raznichenko. Also, 4 people were injured, 3 men and a woman. 3 of them are in a hospital. Doctors assess their condition as moderate. Meanwhile, the head of the Nikopol RMA, Yevtushenko, asks all residents of the settlements located on the banks of the Kakhovka Reservoir to stay in shelters this night. Ukrainian army today destroyed 5 ammunition depots, 3 bases, and 3 command and strongholds of the Russian invaders. And that was the last news from like the evening yesterday. So now we're jumping into today as a news after midnight. Armed forces of Ukraine repelled the offensive of Russian troops in several directions. In the Slaviansk direction, in order to improve the tactical situation, the enemy conducted assault operations in Bohorodishne, but had no success. Also, thank you, Vandella, for donating to the fundraiser. Thank you so much. The enemy tried to carry out a senseless reconnaissance and force in the area of the settlement of Dolina, suffered losses, and retreated. In the Bakhmut direction, enemy attempts to conduct offensive battles near Kodema and Zaitseva, and they were stopped by the Ukrainian defenders. Therefore, that was unsuccessful as well. In the Avdiivka direction, in order to improve the tactical situation, the enemy fought offensive battles in the Pervomaisky district to no avail. So if you look at the news recently, anytime you see Russians launching an offensive, they do it to no avail, as in they have no successes in the area because the armed forces of Ukraine repel them. This is how you can tell that Ukraine is on the offensive and Russia is on the defensive, because now Ukraine has a major offensive and Russia has offensives in some places and they're not necessarily successful. So this is how you see that the front line breaks. Someone on YouTube says, how many cities in Ukraine end with Pol? Quite a few. Ukraine now. The day has come. IAEA's organization support and assistance mission to Zaporizhia is now on its way. We must protect the safety and security of Ukraine's and Europe's biggest nuclear facility. Proud to lead the mission, which will be in Zaporizhia nuclear power plant later this week. So IAEA, or in Ukrainian it's MAHATE, they are going to be coming to Zaporizhia nuclear power plant later this week. That is also major breaking news. Paul Stewart. Hi, thank you, Paul. В тебе дуже класна англійська. Дуже дякую. Я, до речі, трошки похвалюся, але відео 24 серпня на сторінці нашого президента про історію України, про те, як Україна боролася за незалежність, це мій голос. Так що це так для всіх українців. І в нас ще буде деяка співпраця. Дуже скоро. Thank you so much. We got another donation from Rita. Thank you, Rita, so much for donating to the fundraiser. And hi, Malcontent. Good to see you. Hi, Pomsta. Ukraine achieved success in war using Western weapons and equipment in the most unexpected ways, improvising and adapting advanced and deadly weapon systems to its existing capabilities. According to experts and representatives of the U.S. Department of Defense, Ukrainian troops use American and weapons in a way that few people expected. By mounting rockets on trucks, Ukrainian forces move them faster into the firing zone. By placing missile systems on fast boats, they increased their capabilities at sea. Ukrainians use the MacGyver metaphor. I'm referring to a 1980s TV show where the main character used simple makeshift devices to get himself out of delicate situations. The engineering ingenuity of the Ukrainians contrasts sharply with the slow, unhurried, doctrinal nature of the Russian advance, said Ben Hodges, former commander-in-chief of the U.S. Army in Europe. So this is kind of like one of those things where, you know, a lot of people were talking about this and a lot of people were analyzing the fact, you know, anytime someone says like, oh, Ukraine would be nothing without Western weapons, the West right now is studying Ukrainian combat techniques because we have, and this is like, we're very humble people, but this is something that I'm going to give us a lot of credit for. Because what we have managed to do is we have managed to use these weapons in ways in which nobody has ever used them. Because we have managed to take whatever we had and turn it in whatever we didn't have. So we were asking, let's say, an active weapon, and no one was giving it to us. And it was hard without this weapon. So we would invent ways to use these weapons to make them as efficient as the weapon that we actually needed would be. So we have been transforming these weapons. We have been making makeshift things. We have been doing incredible things. Well, not we, but you know, the armed forces of Ukraine. You know, I'm not going to say we because it's the boys and girls in the front line who have been incredible, and their commanders as well. Yes, so we have been using limited resources to do a seemingly impossible task. That's true. And if you read, there is a Vice article about American former, American Afghanistan veterans that former Afghanistan vets that went to the front lines in Ukraine, served for 2 weeks and literally left because they were like, we can't fight in these conditions. What these guys and girls are doing is insane because we weren't ready for this. We thought that this was going to be like Afghan, and this is nothing like Afghan. This is like 3 levels of hell past what Afghanistan was like for American troops. And so that was the whole point, that everybody in the world was incredibly impressed with how Ukrainians have managed to use these resources and maximize their value. Also, as a personal favor, I'm going to ask you guys, if you follow Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, on Instagram, there is a video called "How Long Has Ukraine Been Fighting for Independence?" I voiced over this video. That's my voice on there. And if you could go and tag my Instagram on it with words like, "Oh my gosh, I recognize your voice," or something like that. This is my Instagram as well. It will be very, very, very helpful for me, because I asked them to tag me in our future collaborations, because the more people like Zelensky, like United24 tag me, the more people see me, the more people hear the news about Ukraine every day, because at the end of the day, it's just really helpful to have recognition from verified figures, because that brings more public trust, right? And for a creator who's smaller like me, it really does make a very big difference. So I would like to show them that people are asking and people are recognizing me, which that in turn means that there is a higher chance that they're going to be tagging me in future videos that I'm going to be doing with them. So thank you so very, very, very much. And on to the next one. In the morning, the Russians sent rockets to the Sinelnikovsky and Dniprovsky district. The head of Dnipropetrovsk RMA, Valentin Reznichenko, a fire broke out in Pokrovsky community because of the explosions. Rescuers are on site. Information about the victims is being specified. In the Lyubomovsky community, a rocket hit a dacha area. Dacha is like a suburban house. It's like a country house. Dacha in Ukrainian and Russian means like the second house that you would like. So in the US, you would have like a summer house, right? So dacha is a summer house. The Russian invaders fired at Nikopol, Marhanets, and Krasnogorivka community. Oh, thank you, Natlin. At night. Previously, no casualties, but damaged houses, power lines. The number of victims as a result of yesterday's shelling of Nikopol has increased, unfortunately. One more person was hospitalized. Thus, one person died and 5 injured. Also, in the Nikopol Armée, they reported that in the morning, the invaders fired on Marhanets and Krasnogorivka. The losses of Russian invaders today amount to 47,100 Russian soldiers. So troops, it's 47,100 personnel. In Kherson, Russian invaders were under attack at night. Previously, there were many victims among the invaders. Further information is being clarified. Here is what that looked like. Take a look. Можеш запостити в себе на сторі на Інстаграмі, я думаю. Дякую дуже. Yes, beautiful sounds. This is the sounds I live for.
Всю воинская часть просто посадили. Я думаю, что там никто не выжил, потому что у нас была синхронка.
They're saying they don't think anybody had survived in that military facility, the Russian military facility, because the bang was so loud that it must have been like one of the most extensive. Це Kherson, one of the most extensive explosions. Це є Kherson. This is a base of the Russian invaders in Kherson. As I said earlier, there are many losses, but the amount of victims is being specified. Also, hello from Serbia. I support Ukraine. On YouTube, there is Occulto from TikTok saying hi, and they're from Serbia and they support Ukraine. Thank you very, very, very much. I really do appreciate it incredibly. Okay. Update from the British intelligence on August 29th, 2022. Recent independent Russian media reports have claimed that due to the problems Russia is facing in its war against Ukraine, Russia's defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, is now being sidelined within the Russian leadership, with operational commanders briefing President Putin directly on the course of the war. Russian officers and soldiers with first-hand experience of the war probably routinely ridicule Shoigu for his ineffectual and out-of-touch leadership as Russian progress has stalled. Shoigu has likely long struggled to overcome his reputation as lacking substantive military experience. as he spent most of his career in the construction sector and the Ministry of Emergency Situations. So for those of you that don't know, the Russian defense minister Shoigu has no background. Є на YouTube. Є на YouTube, є на Twitch. Такий самий цей. So the Russian defense minister Shoigu quite literally has no military background, like not a single piece of military background. His background is mostly in construction. He used to be a security guard at like a parking facility at some point. He worked in security for a little while. He was never, ever involved with the military by any means. Private security, maybe. Questionable. But no military experience, not even a single droplet. And he is the defense minister of the Russian Federation, which may explain exactly why their strategy is so incredibly horrible and why they absolutely do not know why they absolutely do not know what to do with this war, with this offensive, and why they're losing so badly is because the man has no experience with strategizing a war whatsoever and doesn't have any experience with military whatsoever either. So yeah, Shoigu is incredibly not well-versed within the military. Now, to compare Shoigu to our defense minister, Alexei Reznikov is a very accomplished lawyer with an incredible background in the field of law. As far as I remember, he went to the Lviv Artillery University for his law degree, which we do have an artillery university, which will mean that you will be a career military man or woman, and they do have faculties for different degrees. And so his was law. Now, he is incredibly well-versed in military strategy. He's incredibly well-versed in military in general, in conduct, in battle, in like battle techniques and tactics and stuff like that. So there is a difference between the two, basically, military commanders in chief, right, or defense ministers. So there is Reznikov, who is the Ukrainian defense minister, and there is Shoigu, who is the Russian defense minister. One has incredible experience in the legal field and in combat, and the other one has no experience in legal field and no experience in combat at all, no experience in military and no experience in tactical planning. So there is that, and that is probably why there is a big difference between the armed forces and their efficiency, efficacy, and how they conduct themselves. Satellite images of the invaders' pontoon crossing near the Antonovsky Bridge in Kherson appeared on the network. Images from Planet Labs dated August 27th show that the pontoon crossing extends almost to the middle of the Antonovsky Bridge. The length of the temporary crossing is over 620 meters. So this is what that looks like. Привет, Vlad. And thank you, Karen. And thank you, Nicole. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who are on YouTube, there is Nicole, and she has learned Ukrainian, although she has no Ukrainian ancestry or background, but she speaks Ukrainian. She speaks Ukrainian very well. AFU broke through the first line of defense of the Russians near Kherson. This was as of 8:49 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 109th Regiment of the DPR retreated from their positions in the Kherson region. The Russian paratroopers who were their support fled from the battlefield. The Kakhovka task force said in a statement, updated, the breakthrough in Kherson is confirmed by the head of the press center of OC South, Natalia Humanyuk. Also, in Berislav in the Kherson region, the armed forces of Ukraine destroyed the base of the occupiers, according to preliminary information as of 8:49 a.m. today. Armed forces of Ukraine destroyed almost all of the big bridges in the Kherson region. We are talking about the Antonovsky Railway, Automobile, and Novokakhovsky bridges. Thus, the Russian troops are cut off from the supply of weapons and personnel from the territory of Crimea, according to the Kakhovka Operational Group of Troops. Russian S-300 missile systems slipped through Bosphorus towards war in Ukraine. Russia could transfer missiles for the S-300 complex across the Bosphorus to the Black Sea from its bases in Syria. On the night of August 24th to 25th, the merchant ship Sparta II crossed the strait. Hi, Lisa. Slava Ukraini, Heroям Slava. The ship likely sailed from the Syrian Tartus, where S-300 components were assembled on the pier, presumably from a facility in Masyaf in northern Syria. On August 27th, the ship entered Novorossiysk, where there is a Russian port and a large naval base near the Kerch Bridge. This is on the territory of Russia. The Sparta II is owned by Baroin Logistics LLC, which was sanctioned by the US in May and is controlled by the Russian Defense Ministry. The crew is civilian, but the cargo is often military. Another major thing to understand is that Russia has been pulling its equipment and has been pulling its resources out of Syria to the war in Ukraine, which largely indicates that they're in much bigger trouble than it seems when it comes to their war capabilities at the moment, because at this point, they're pulling their equipment from everywhere. Thank you so much, Karine. And they're trying to bring it to Ukraine because, well, there is not much equipment left within Russia. Their supply logistics are very bad, and also a lot of their partners that supply parts from which these weapons can be built on the territory of Russia have sanctioned them and are unable to basically supply them with these parts. So they are screwed. And that's very visible based on how they have been behaving. Thank you so much, Todd, and thank you so much. Oh my God. Wait, that one's so cool. Thank you so much, Kay. That was very cool. Updated map of the situation in the eastern Ukraine from European war experts. In their opinion, the invaders were able to come close to the settlement of Kodema, but they have not yet been able to completely capture it, probably because of the Ukrainian fortifications on the outskirts and approaches to it. A visual map on which the areas controlled by Ukraine are marked in yellow, and the approximate occupied territory is marked in red. Armed forces of Ukraine launched an offensive in many directions in southern Ukraine. Head of the Joint Press Center of the Security and Defense Forces of the Operational Command South, Natalia Humanyuk, said, "This is what it looks like up close." Thank you, Yvonne. Good to see you here. Invaders in Mariupol do not plan to restore damaged houses and periodically shoot each other from machine guns. The shooting in the 17th and 23rd microdistricts is reported by the City Council of Mariupol with reference to local residents. And the advisor to the mayor of Mariupol, Petro Andrushenko, spoke about the meeting of the leaders of the occupying municipal services with the residents of the city. It became clear that houses with damage would not be repaired, just as they did not plan to solve the problem with garbage on the street. But under the guise of reconstruction, they hide the traces of the murder of civilians in the drama theater. As you may recall, about 400 people, 400 to 600 people, we are not quite sure how many because it's impossible to verify, have died in the shelling of the Mariupol drama theater. It was one of the biggest tragedies of this war. And they have been quite literally just disposing of the bodies to hide their crimes. In the Mariupol port, no work is being carried out on it since the occupiers could not launch it at full capacity. According to Andrushenko, a new instruction came from the Kremlin to reach the border of the Donetsk region before September 15th, so preparations for the referendum began again. Ismail, greetings from Kosovo, Slava Ukraini, Heroям Slava, and Ukraine supports Kosovo. Moscow criticizes St. Petersburg authorities because of low enrollment in the ranks of volunteers. According to the Institute for the Study of War, Heroям Slava, the Kremlin is criticizing St. Petersburg Governor Alexander Beglov through the media for not stimulating recruitment into volunteer battalions in the city. According to the American Institute for the Study of War, they're also reported that Russian President Vladimir Putin issued 2 decrees regarding Ukrainians in the Russian Federation on the mandatory submission of fingerprints, which will allow them to stay on the territory of Russian Federation legally, and on cash payments, about $83 to $167. I don't know if it's a month or a what, but Vladimir Putin basically issued a decree that Ukrainians can get government support now in Russia, which I think is just a way of trying to get Ukrainian people from the occupied territories to move to Russia, because they are obviously looking for money and resources and they need money. And then he could then show to the world, like, look how many Ukrainians are migrating here on their own volition. Obviously, this is justified because we're just protecting them and they've wanted to be here this whole time. I don't know how this strategy is going to help. I don't know why they think it will. It does not seem like a reasonable, logical thing to do to me, and I don't think they're actually going to pay out these. I don't think they're actually going to pay these payments. In terms of the situation on the front, Russian troops have conducted unsuccessful offensive operations northwest of Sloviansk, limited ground attacks southeast of Bakhmut, as well as west and southwest of Donetsk, and carried out a limited ground attack north of Kharkiv. Sweden will provide Ukraine with an additional package of military assistance worth more than $40 million. Sweden's Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson has announced that her government will provide Ukraine with an additional aid package of 1 billion crowns, both military and civilian. In turn, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba called on Sweden to provide the country with weapons such as howitzers and shells. Hi, Scott. Good to see you. Evacuation from workplaces announced in Novokakhovka. People go to shelters. Russian media with reference to the occupying authorities. The military calls for information silence amid news about the counteroffensive in the Kherson region. Hi. Привет. The military operation requires silence. The fact that now such a stir is caused by news from the front is not correct. In the context of a hybrid war and information war, one must be aware that any actions, even if they inspire, must be carried out and have a logical conclusion, and only then can they be effective, said Natalia Humaniuk, head of the Joint Press Center of the Southern Defense Forces. So we stock up on patience and believe in the armed forces of Ukraine, which is why there are not that many things that are being confirmed, not that many things that are being put out there, because silence is oftentimes the best weapon, and that is how we were able to launch this gigantic counteroffensive that no one was prepared for, because we were silent about it. Heroyam Slava, and to whoever said Russia hearts, well, go and live there then if it's so awesome. And maybe, I don't know, start saving up for a toilet, because you're going to be hit with a very harsh reality when you go to your lovely mother Russia and you can't even shit inside. While activists in Ukraine still doubt the death of a collaborator and ex-People's Deputy from the Servant of the People, Kovalyov, our sources in law enforcement agencies confirmed the fact of his death. His mistress is injured. She is in the photo. There was information that she also died, but so far this has not been confirmed. Who was Kovalyov and why did he betray Ukraine? Here, and I can link that in the YouTube description below after the live. Russian media informed that the armed forces of Ukraine allegedly fired at the Khmelnytsky NPP from Marievka, Zaporizhia region. True, in the article itself, the Russians corrected the name of Khmelnytsky to the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, but on Twitter, the post remained unchanged. Note that Ukraine does not shell the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. The center of Mykolaiv is being heavily shelled, according to Vitaly Kim. Russian troops shelled residential buildings in Mykolaiv. The head of the Mykolaiv Regional State Administration, Vitaly Kim, announced about the losses of civilians. Residents of Kherson region were urged to stay in safe places, stock up on food and water, and prepare first aid kits. City Council. Also, 1 second before you remove it, let me respond to it. BT2268. Open your eyes, you're living in a parallel world. Open yours, you're living in a world in which you had no idea what the fuck Ukraine is until 6 months ago. Now, I was born there, I was raised there, my entire immediate family lives there. It's my country, I love it, and I know what the fuck is going on in there. If you think that you're the smartest person in this room or anywhere, just because you found out what Ukraine is and you sit in public places where they talk about propaganda and you are limited enough to believe it, does not mean that other people are too. Now open your wide closed, very limited eyes, because Unlike you, I've known what the fuck Ukraine is for 28 years of my life because, honey, I hold a passport of that nation, and that is the only citizenship I have, and probably the only citizenship I might want to have. Unless Ukraine allows dual, because I'm proud of my nation. Also, please don't tell me to open my eyes, honey, because the second that I opened my eyes, I opened them to Ukrainian sky and to Ukrainian fields and plains because, again, I was born there. When did you find out what Ukraine is? 6 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, 3 months ago? Don't fucking tell me what my country is doing. Don't tell me what my eyes are closed to. Don't tell me anything about Ukraine, in fact. You've no right. You literally know nothing about Ukraine. Okay? Are we clear about that? Now you can block it. Yuri Petrov on Twitch. Hello. Hi. Norwegian conference of the largest energy companies. Not for the first time, Mr. Zelensky emphasized that Europe's independence from Russia, particularly in energy, is of fundamental importance for all Europeans. And together with Ukraine, Europe is able to do much more than with Russia. We don't want to look back and repeat who didn't hear us, but Ukraine wants us all to not lose the opportunities we have at this historical moment. Only together can we protect Europe, only by maintaining our maximum principle, and only by achieving victory in this war together. Photos of the damages at ZNPP have appeared today, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. This is what that looks like. These are the damages caused by the Russian army at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Yes, I am Ukrainian, born and raised and proud. No politics, please. Well, if you don't want to listen to politics, you can scroll down and you can go to another live. Nobody is asking you to stay here. I don't need to adjust myself to you. Sorry. You know, upsetting, I get it, but you know, you ended up on a live about not politics, it's about the war. It's not about politics, it's about war. War is not politics in this situation, you know? Here is a genocide. Genocide is not political. You don't have to be involved in politics to understand genocide bad. You know? You really don't have, like, I absolutely despise when people say, well, I'm apolitical, I'm not interested in politics, therefore I don't have an opinion on the war between Ukraine and Russia. Well, first of all, it's not a war between Ukraine and Russia. It is a war in which Ukraine is defending itself and Russia is an aggressor who attacked Ukraine. 1. 2, you don't have to be into politics to know that a genocide of people is bad. For a reason, without a reason, bad. Literally, no matter how you look at it. Bad. Also, I'm so sorry. There is this lovely thing. I love when trolls try to target my mental health in order to tell me that, in order to like bring me down, because I'm supposed to be made feel like I am not doing well, and I'm supposed to be made feel like it looks like I'm losing my shit, right? But so here is a lovely thing that I'm going to read to you. Kingo Disco on YouTube says, your mental health seems to be deteriorating day by day. You should take a break from the internet. Honey, my mental health is fine. Although if you want to pay for a therapy session, I will always take that money because therapists are good for everybody and it's nice to have somebody to unload on, you know? And it's nice to talk to someone about random things from time to time. If you do think that it looks to you like my mental health is deteriorating, I do have PayPal in my bio. You can go right there and you can send me about what, like $300 for a good therapist. You can send me about $300. I will gladly take them. Thank you very much for your concern. I really do appreciate the fact that you care about me so much. However, I do not need a break. My mental health is fine, but I will always take a free therapy session. So thank you, honey. That was so nice of you. I really do appreciate that you were spending your troll. That's so sweet of you. What a good Russian. What a good Russian. Anyways, have a good day, babes. The Russian army shelled 112 Ukrainian cities and territories in August 28th. But also, babes, I will be waiting on that $300 because I could use it for various different things. Obviously, you don't need it. I do. Also, there is nothing to buy in Russia for that money at this point. So yes, I could use it much more than you could. And I could also donate it to the armed forces of Ukraine. So yeah, go ahead. Send them. Give me. I'm waiting. here's the thing, like if you think I need mental health counseling, come on, give me the money. Give me the money. New York City is expensive. The Russian army shelled 112 Ukrainian cities and territories on August 28th. Heroям slava. European researchers of the war report that there is an increase in the use of rocket and salvo fire by the Russian army. Yesterday, 112 settlements were shelled, which is higher than the average for the last 7 days. The Donetsk region in particular, the settlement of Avdiivka, is still among the least shelled. Oh, I mean, I don't care what they think about my mental health, but it's fine. I will take the money though for therapy that I will дякую, that I will then forward to the armed forces of Ukraine and buy them something nice. Anyways, also thank you everybody for all of your gifts, because I do really appreciate them. I don't always have the opportunity to say thank you, because I don't always see, because I am just a little too, yeah, exactly. I would donate, like, listen, if a troll sends me $300 of their paycheck, it is going straight to the armed forces of Ukraine. It is going, like, so fast, it is running to the armed forces of Ukraine. According to preliminary information, the invaders hit the Ingulsky Bridge in Mykolaiv. Look at their fantastic aim. Look at their fan-freaking-tastic aim. Thank you. Thank you, Gulam. Look at this aim. Look at this precision. So here's the thing. I'm no shooter, okay? I'm no good with artillery. I would not be very good in the army because I have zero training, but I just want you to keep looking at this, because I feel like personally, I myself, with one of those, with one of those devices comprised of 2 branches, a string, and a rock, could hit the bridge better than that. Привіт, Ольга. Well, вони не попали в міст. Вони не попали в міст. Вони попали в воду біля моста. A slingshot, yes. Вони попали в воду біля моста, в тому то й справа. So this was a very precise strike onto the Mykolaiv bridge, that is, really shows you the capabilities of the Grand Russian Army. Anyways, Russian media report on the success of the armed forces of Ukraine. So according to the Telegram channels of the Russian Federation, our military carried out several successful attacks, in particular on the Avdiivka-Lozove direction. They managed to advance 10 kilometers and occupy the village of Sukhy Stavok. Wow. Is your family in Mykolaiv still, Oля? Is your family still in Mykolaiv? Exclusive distribution of food, medicine, and single-handedly, volunteers from Novovorontssovka have distributed food, medicine, and single-handedly put out fires in the Kherson region. Those are the Ukrainian volunteers, those are the partisans, those are the guerrilla warriors. Our correspondent visited a volunteer station organized, thank you, Andy, organized by the residents of Novovorontssovka in the Kherson region. Here you can get food kits, medicine, and tarp to cover broken windows and roofs. Thank you so much, Andy. I really appreciate it. In addition to the distribution point, volunteers deliver food and drinking water to other villages in the community. It is also necessary to put out fires that arise after shelling of Russians on their own. More stories and videos on their YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is called Ukraine Now. You could sign up for it if you'd like to. More than 300 tons of humanitarian aid were collected in ATB stores. In all operating stores of the ATB trade network, a corresponding humanitarian aid collection point has been formed, which coordinates and transfers the necessary products, goods, medical supplies, and equipment for the needs of the armed forces and territorial defense forces. Every Ukrainian can contribute to the defense capability of our country by providing the necessary assistance at the nearest operating ATB store. Information about the list of necessary assistance and the order of its transfer is located at the entrance to the store. Let's stay in line. This is for Ukrainians if you'd like. And also, I have very interesting news on my behalf. I don't know if you guys have heard of Mission Kharkiv. If you haven't, you absolutely should, because Mission Kharkiv has been written up about in the Telegraph and the Daily Mail. Mission Kharkiv is an amazing initiative created by my friend Charles and by his friend Rostislav, who were both on the front lines. If you remember Charles was staying with my grandmother. He came to Ukraine to help and volunteer for 5 days, ended up staying for a month and a half, and has done a tremendous amount of good for Ukrainians. For instance, he had brought tourniquets to Ukraine. He had brought like the correct tourniquets. He himself went to Kharkiv to deliver essential medication to people who are dependent on medication. And him and Rostislav had created Mission Kharkiv. Now, I am volunteering my time and efforts to Mission Kharkiv in order to help them with marketing outreach and with social media and stuff like that. So now I am working closely with them. They're going to be launching a Patreon soon. And also, besides that, they just show you a lot of very great stories about how they help the elderly and the oncology patients in Kharkiv region. So one of the coolest things that they do is they evacuate oncology patients from Kharkiv, people who have cancer and people who need help coming to other parts of the world in order to treat their cancer. They also, again, deliver essential, much necessary medication to the front lines of Ukraine in Kharkiv and other places as well, but most of all, they concentrate on Kharkiv. Basically, their motto is, we're delivering life-saving chronic and anti-cancer medication to besieged Ukrainian cities. And recently, they have gotten a donation worth of $2 million for oncology equipment. It is major, and we're all celebrating, but basically, they're an amazing organization. They're currently working on their bigger presence on social media because their whole thing was to do more and concentrate less on socials. This is their Instagram. We're working on it a little more currently. It's literally called mission.kharkiv. Please follow them. Please give them a follow. They do a lot of updates. They do a lot of stories. They also post stories of, individuals that they have helped. So it's just a very good and great, pick me up if you want to read about something amazing. So here are the individual stories that you can read about on the page of Mission Kharkiv. And also they have a Facebook, and I am going to be one of the admins for what comes out from Mission Kharkiv to the public eye, as in how the stories are formed. And this is their Facebook group, also called Mission Kharkiv. So the social media is not very far advanced because they have been concentrating more on doing and less on social media. And now they're trying to concentrate on both. And this is where I come in to help out. So I'm very happy to be working with them. They're an amazing organization, and they have been talked about by so many different Ukrainian figures and bloggers and just everybody. But they're quite great. Please follow them. Please, yes, oncology is cancer, but they are just amazing. So please follow them. Please give them just give them a follow, give them a shout out. They've been doing tremendous work, and I will show you on Charlie's on TikTok, because Charlie actually was an influencer way before influencing was popular. But he has also, I need to start calling him Charles, because apparently no one but me calls him Charlie, and it's incredibly unprofessional, but I'm just so used to it that I can't do anything about it. But I will show you Charles's video from Ukraine about Mission Kharkiv.
This is an incredibly exciting day for me. I finally made it to Kharkiv, and we're right here in the headquarters of Mission Kharkiv. I've just met the entire team here, the volunteers who've been helping us source all of this medicine. And we're about to make a big delivery. These are boxes full of prescription medications that we're going to be hand delivering to people all around Kharkiv. The longer that this war drags on, the more of these we're going to have to deliver, and the more the supply chain will be affected.
Они же человеком. А я ж не знаю.
We're just $13,000 away from meeting our monthly goal of being able to coordinate the logistics of bringing all of this medicine in from Europe and delivering it to the city of Kharkiv and its residents. Any donations you can give, any amount, helps us to continue doing what we're doing here. This is an incredibly...
I'm not going to get fired for calling him Charlie. We've already addressed this, and I call him Charles in a professional environment, but I still struggle.
Delivering medications to people like Yewleea who are stuck in Kharkiv, and medical supply chain has been disrupted, and so they lost access to the life-saving medications that they need to survive.
So the website is, I will show you. It's, one second. Sorry, I am going to pin it into, it's missionkharkiv.com, quite literally. This is what it looks like. missionkharkiv.com. They're also on DonorSee, Mission Kharkiv, and I am going to write it as a banner on YouTube, and you guys can go onto their website. I'm gonna pin it, missionkharkiv.com, and you can check out what they have been doing. They actually post a lot of very heartwarming things and a lot of stories of people that they have helped. Also, let me see one little thing. I need to go grab my charger. So while I grab my charger, I'm going to put Cinny over here because for those of you guys who don't know, Cinny is my dog. Yes, I did a live with him a couple of months ago because Charlie is a friend of mine who messaged me in the middle of the night at some point and was like, hey, I am jumping on the plane to Warsaw tomorrow, and then I am going to Lviv by railroad. And I was like, where are you staying? And he was like, I don't know. I guess I will find a hostel. And I was like, Charlie, you're an American man of 26 years of age that has never been to Ukraine, and you are going to a war zone. So no, you're not going to be staying in the hostel. I'm going to send you to my grandmother, and you're going to be staying with my grandmother. And he did. And my grandmother consistently kept complaining about how skinny he looks. I'm sure he loved it. But yes, basically my grandma kept saying oh my gosh, he's so skinny. How is he going to Yulia? You have to tell me what this boy likes to eat. I need to feed him. He looks so skinny. He came here skinny. Now he's even skinnier. Yulia, he doesn't eat. But anyways, yes, my Ukrainian grandma also has Jewish roots. So you can only imagine. Also, my grandma kept calling me and she was like, I know you're married, but he's a very, very good looking man. And I'm like, Grandma, if you like him, you shoot your shot with him, not me. So yeah, my Ukrainian grandma doesn't only want me doesn't only want to feed him, she also wants to marry him off to me, and also every single man that passes by, because I'm wonderful and I'm amazing. And why wouldn't every single man on this planet want to marry me, So that's my grandma's idea. But let me show you Cinny. Cinny is my Ukrainian dog. I got her from Mykolaiv. Так, я розмовляю українською, звичайно, я зі Львова. Cinny is from Mykolaiv. Cinny right now has a bit of a teeny itsy bitsy ear infection, so she is wearing a donut. She's not at her best, but I will show you, especially if you're Ukrainian and you have never seen this before, I will show you how patriotic my little puppy is. Sinya, come here, my little Vietnamska свинка. Come here. Come here, baby frog. Oh my gosh, I know. It'll be okay. I know. I'll give you treats. Listen, this is not for nothing. Cindy, sit. Hey, babes. Okay, sit. Baby, I just need you to co-host a second because I need to go grab my charger, but also while I know, Sin. I know. Sinya, hey, babes. Hey, wait. Okay, Cindy. You know what to do, Cindy. Come on, wait. I know, Sin. Wait. Okay, wait. Sit, Cindy. Слава Україні. Слава нації. Пиздець Російській Федерації. Good girl. I know it's hard to see on TikTok because she is she's wearing a cone, but she high fives me on these things. Sini, on all of the haslos. Sini, wait. Sini, wait. Okay, wait. So here is a little treat, and we will see if Sini will be able to wait. Wait, I'll be back. You didn't eat it? Okay, okay. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, good girl. We're gonna go on a big walkie after this. Soon, baby, soon. Okay, so this was my doggy Sin. Sinny. This is my dog Sinny. For those of you who don't know, she is awesome. I love her very, very much. Sinny always looks like she's sick of the shit she is. That's because she is. She doesn't only look it, she just is. That's the thing. Sinny is sick of, Sinny is sick of me pretty much. Always. That, it's just how Sinny is. One sec, sorry. I just need to charge my phone a little bit. So with that said, I also need to prop it against something, and I don't know what to prop it against. There we go. This should work. Somewhat work. Well, it's not necessarily an allergy. She just has like a teensy little ear infection that we're battling. Anyways, all stationary bridges across Dnipro are out of order. Terrorist Strelkov Girkin writes about this. According to him, now the occupiers can cross the Dnipro by means of transport only by ferry and pontoon crossings. Novakhovka, Borislav, Donetsk, Makayevka, Yasenovata, Horlivka, and many other settlements are under heavy shelling. Hi, Jerry. Thank you so much. See you soon. The National Camp for Stoves for the Defenders of Heat to the Front has begun. Volunteer headquarters Ukrainian team starts the national project Heat to the Front. Hi, Dakota. To raise funds for metal stoves for the defenders. As part of the project, it is planned to provide heat to 5,000 Ukrainian soldiers forced to live in the field before the onset of the cold weather, according to the website Ukrainian Team. So now we are, now a lot of organizations in Ukraine are heavily fundraising for stoves that are portable in order to put them on the front line so the defenders in Ukraine can be warm in the winter, as the temperature are going to be drastically changing in about like October, September, mid-September. Yes, I'm thrilled to hear the news today as well because, well, Kherson – це Україна. Херсон завжди був Україною, Херсон завжди буде Україною. Is dog in Ukrainian pes or sobaka like in Russian? We say pes more often than we say sobaka, but sobaka is right as well. But I don't think it's Russification, but I think that we are in fact using pes much more often. How long did you learn English language? It is amazing. Well, thank you very much. I live in New York for 11 years. And I also speak English since I was 4 years old. I live in the US for 11 years and I speak English since I was 4 years old. I learned it in Ukraine, but from a native speaker. So, officially from the Russian Federation, the death of collaborator Alexei Kovalyov is confirmed. The investigative committee of the Russian Federation... The investigative committee of the Russian Federation officially confirmed the death of the Ukrainian ex-deputy Alexei Kovalyov, who became the Minister of Agriculture in the temporarily occupied Kherson. The report states that he died from a gunshot wound and after an unidentified person shot at him yesterday, August 28th, at his home. The girl who lived with him also died. So his lover, I guess they said. Over the past week, power engineers, with the support of the military of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, restored electricity for 85,000 consumers. Thanks to the actions of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the emergency repair team of DTEK Akhmetov were able to repair power lines in 160 settlements of Donetsk and Dnipropetrovsk region. This is also very major. Air raid alert announced in Kherson again. They reported that there are new strikes along Tyahinka and Kiselevka. In addition, the air defense of the invaders is working, or at least trying to work, in the Genichesk region. Reports about numerous explosions in Kherson and the region. Update. They also report strikes along the Antonovsky Bridge. It is now in smoke. It is American war, honey. It is your limited mind. That is what it is, okay? Because, you know, as a Ukrainian person myself, I can tell you it is not an American war. Is it convenient for Americans? Yes, it is. Is it good for Americans to destabilize Russia without having to put boots on the ground? Yes. Is this war favorable for Americans? Yes. Is it good for America to weaken Russia and not have to do it themselves? Sure. Is America benefiting from the fact that Russia is going into the trash hole? Yes. Did America orchestrate this? No. No. Are Ukrainians fighting a proxy war? No. Are you trying to take away our collective consciousness by saying that? Yes. Do you think we're stupid enough to not know what we're fighting for? You do, but we aren't. So, you monkey very, very much. You know that song by Lily Allen? I don't want to say the F-U-C-K word, but you know. The Russian invaders continue to bomb civilian targets on the territory of Ukraine. The summary of the General Staff on the evening of August 29th. In Berdyansk and Kherson, the armed forces of Ukraine are working on the positions of the occupiers. They report hitting a barge near Antonovsky Bridge. Smoke is visible. There is no official information yet as of 2:21 p.m., but this is what it looks like. Hi, Mashbuck. Sorry. Proud to be American, and YouTube says, how do you escape the war and live here better than us? Well, first of all, I did not escape the war because I have been living in the United States for 11 years. Second of all, nobody who escapes the war lives here better than you. If they do manage to live here better than you, it's not because the government pays them. It's because they're smart, because they get jobs, and because they do things. You know, we get work permits. Same work permits as you have by right of birth. We get them because, well, the United States government wants us to work. We also pay taxes. We do all of these lovely things that people are supposed to do when they're earning money, which, you know, you probably know about. Another thing is, I did not escape the war. I've been living in the US for 11 years. I don't know what indicates to you that I live better than you. The fact that I have a coffee machine in the background, I mean, hey, sir, that is not an indication of wealth. If you can't afford a coffee machine, I'm so very sorry, but like, do something better with your life. Is it the plant that gives you an idea that I live better than you? Is that it? That is also not that expensive. That plant was $30. Can you not afford a plant $30? I feel like that is a you problem, not a me problem. Do you think that I live better than you because I have taste and my interior design is nice? All of this was purchased on sale on Amazon. Even the coffee machine was on sale when I bought it. It's refurbished. So yeah, sir, I mean, if an espresso coffee machine in the background of my video indicates to you that I live better than an average American, well, that is probably an indication of a you issue, not a me issue. And again, if you can't afford a coffee machine, hey, sir, my condolences to you. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and continue doing things that are not this. War weariness is a big risk to the whole world. The real struggle of each country for independence is a difficult path. Now we can get victory for ourselves, for our children, grandchildren, and for all generations of our peoples who fought for freedom before. I'm sure that we will win, said the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. Satellite images of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. They show the holes from the strikes at the roof of one of the buildings near the station, fires in the forest and around it. This is what Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant looks like today. I'm sorry, some MAGA man on YouTube says they didn't even exist in your own country. You should be proud of America. Honey, I did not say I didn't like things. If anything, I said I liked my coffee machine, I liked my apartment, and I liked my $30 plant. So for you to say if you don't like it, get out, well, first of all, if your house is on fire, are you going to try to put down the fire and make it better, or are you just going to leave? I mean, if you're going to leave the house that's on fire, that's a you problem, again, not me. Second of all, we do have coffee machines in Ukraine. We do have Nespresso coffee machines in Ukraine. You know, I don't know what your idea of Ukraine is. I don't know why. For some reason, anytime there is a war, people just assume that everybody was poor, destitute, and couldn't afford anything beforehand. No, people in Ukraine are not running away from a bad life. We're not running away from poverty. We're running away from missiles, sir. Missiles? You would be doing that too. You know, if your house was being destroyed by a missile, I doubt you'd be staying. Also, yeah, we do have coffee machines in Ukraine, honey. Would you like me to send pictures of my mom's coffee machine to you? Would you like me to show you this exact coffee machine at my grandma's? She's in her 70s, and unlike you, can afford one. I can also send you a picture of the same coffee machine at my aunt's house. In her 30s, also can afford one, unlike you. I'm sorry, what do you keep asking me about what's wrong with the US? If you think there is nothing wrong with your country, again, very limited mind, need to work on yourself, because every country has something that they could improve, and if you don't want to improve it, well, that is a societal issue with you. Mostly people in a democracy want to improve things to make their country constantly strive for better. And also, I don't know why you people keep saying like, oh, if you don't like it, leave. Oh, if there is something wrong with the US. Did I fucking say anything? I'm waiting. What did I say? What did I say for you to ask me, for you to tell me if you don't like it, leave? I literally said I love my $30 plant and I love my coffee machine. And I said that if you can't afford one and that makes you feel like I am a refugee who's living a better life than you do, then maybe reconsider what you do for a living. First of all, I'm not a refugee. I'm lucky like that. Not a lot of people are, because people had to literally drop everything they had, well, because they don't have it anymore because it was blown up by a missile. And they had to move to a different country. And the fact that they in 6 months can afford more than you can in your whole life says more about you than it says about the refugees. Now, if I am an immigrant who quite literally couldn't work on a W-9, but only on a 1099 as a contractor up until recently, and I can afford more shit than you can, it says more about you and your ability to convert your mental energy or your skill with your hands into money than it does about me. If I, in 11 years here, was able to build a better life than you were in however many years you live here, that is a you problem, not a me problem. If someone in 6 months was able to build a better life here than you were in your whole life, that is a you problem. And also, enough is enough. You cannot criticize America. You should be grateful. Last time I checked, you love yelling free speech. It's a country with free speech. I can criticize whatever the fuck I want. And you should be grateful. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for things that I have accomplished for myself without any government support, without any support from anyone, because I fucking moved here when I was 16 years old. And everything I have made myself. And I'm very grateful for my parents for having helped me out along the way as much as they could. But at the end of the day, everything I have freaking done, I have done for myself, by myself. So I am grateful for being a person who's conscious, humble, and good enough to freaking put my brain to work and get to where I am. Now, if you can't do that for yourself, well then, what can I do? I guess go read a book, figure it out, dude. Anyways, in the Kherson region, the armed forces of Ukraine destroyed the ammunition depots and the bases of the invaders. Explosions are reported in Borislav, Novakhovka. There was a hit in the railway bridge. In addition, the rockets sent a fiery hello to the accumulation of equipment of the Russian troops. Hi, Rainbow. Hi, John. Oh, hi, John from Wales. You gotta teach me how to say hi in Welsh. Our country's resources, not yours. Well, honey, I pay as much taxes here as you do, and resources are not from your country. I pay the taxes that go to your welfare because unlike you, I'm not on it. So if anything, you should be saying thank you to most people who pay for your welfare. I don't get it. I'm not even eligible if I needed it because I'm an immigrant. But I pay the taxes for working here and earning money for you and your welfare. So how about sit down, shut up, and if you want to say that somebody should be grateful, it's probably you to me for my work and my taxes that pay for your welfare, because it does not look like, you know. Oof. Have a good day. Ukrainian armed forces recaptured 4 villages in Kherson region. Oh, also I pay for my own insurance and I don't collect Medicaid, but you probably do. Again, from my taxes. From taxes of every employed person here. So if you're employed and I'm employed, if I pay taxes and you pay taxes, then we're equal. If you're not employed and I'm employed, if you don't pay taxes, but I pay taxes, then you're welcome. 2 villages near Kherson region and 2 near Vysokopole came under our control. CNN, citing sources in the armed forces of Ukraine, reports that operation of the defenders began at night with a massive shelling of Russian positions and rear. The main direction of the offensive was on Pravdino. We hit their infantry from the DNR and LNR. They disappeared. They were followed by Russian troops. Many of the invaders were killed and captured. A lot of Russian military equipment was destroyed. Let's see how it goes. Our goal is Kherson, added a source. It is reported that Russian military helicopters fly from Crimea to Kherson. Presumably, this is Ka-52, Mi-28, and Mi-8. Ramstein to host its second Ukraine contact group. The second meeting of the contact group on Ukraine in the Ramstein format will be held on September 8th. This is reported by the command of the U.S. Air Force in Europe and Africa. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin will hold a personal meeting of the Ukrainian Defense Contact Group at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Evening address of Volodymyr Zelensky. Anyone want to know what our plans are? You won't hear specifics from a truly responsible person because this is war, and so in the war. But the invaders should know we will drive them to the border, to our border, the line of which did not change. The invaders know it well. If they want to survive, it is time for the Russian military to flee. Go home. If you are afraid to return to your home in Russia, well, let such occupiers surrender, and we will guarantee them compliance with all norms of the Geneva Convention. If they do not listen to me, they will deal with our defenders, who will not stop until they release everything that belongs to Ukraine. And it is not something special. It's not something that supposedly started. We're talking about it for 187 days. Ukraine summoned the Turkish ambassador in connection with the information that a ship with the S-300 missiles system passed through the Bosphorus from Syria to Russia. Turkish ambassador Yagmur Ahmet Gülder was invited to the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry today, the Ukrainian Foreign Minister reports. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs requested the Turkish side to provide official information about the cargo, which was transported by ship Sparta 2 through the Bosphorus. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry believes that Turkey violated the provisions of the Montreux Convention, which regulates the passage of military ships through the Bosphorus and Dardanelles. Media reports that the invaders closed the Crimean bridge towards Sevastopol, presumably in order to take military equipment out of the temporarily occupied Crimea. According to other information, the equipment is being transferred just to the Crimea in order to be further sent to Kherson again. Right. That makes so much sense. EU proposes to train Ukrainian snipers, bomb diffusers, and officers, according to Bloomberg. Lithuania, following Poland, has completed the construction of a barbed wire fence on the border with Belarus. Its height is 5 meters. Length is more than 550 kilometers. Also, for all of you MAGA people with MAGA nicknames, saying something on my YouTube. So, by the way, those taxes that all of us pay, I don't know if you did, they went to a construction of like a tiny little bit of the wall between Mexico and the US that also didn't change anything. But that was like, what, 8 billion that we spent on like a, yes, thank you. On like a little, you can if you'd like to. Thank you, Spunko. Thank you, Spunik. That cost like $8 billion, right? And that border wall was not even like finished by any means, or not even like a little bit built. And that took, what, 4 years of presidency? So in 6 months, Lithuania over here was able to finish a whole wall. And their budget was barely dipped into to build that wall. So just FYI, next time you want to scream about the wall and its efficiency, we weren't even able to build a fucking wall in 4 years of presidency. Lithuania built one in, what, 6 months? It's barbed wire. Cost almost nothing. Ours was, what, 8 billion? It's not there. It's not efficient. Yeah. Anyways. Oh, hi, Lithuania. Yeah. Yes, Bevza. Yeah, okay, so this is all the news that I have for today, except for Nokia will finally leave the Russian market after Sony Ericsson. Thanks, 7 months in. And then President Zelensky announced that France would hold a forum on the restoration of Ukraine in the fall. So yeah, anyways, дякую, Irina. And this is all I have for today for the news. We can hang out for a little bit, but also after, I think I can hang out for another 10 to 15 minutes. But I am super hot and I need to turn on the, oh my gosh, thank you, Kay. That's so sweet of you. Thank you everybody for the presents. If I didn't give you a personal thank you, I didn't see it because sometimes things just fly so fast and because I'm reading, it's hard. But thank you, Jen. I really need to eat something because I feel like I'm gonna faint if I don't eat in like half an hour. So after we're done hanging out, I'm gonna go and get a celebratory Italian sandwich from an Italian place I really like with Cine. Thank you, Mariana. And yeah, today is a great day for Ukraine. Thank you all for celebrating it with me. Thank you all for rejoicing with me about the successes of the Ukrainian army. Thank you for being so amazing, and thank you for supporting us all the way, and thank you for helping us. Thank you for donating to the armed forces of Ukraine. Vandela YouTube watch hours update is 3,818 hours. That is without yesterday, so I would assume we're probably at 4,000 tonight, or if not, we're going to be at 4,000 tomorrow, so woohoo! And that is fantastic news. And yeah, thank you guys, you all are amazing. Дякую всім з України. Якщо ви на мене не підписані, будь ласка, підпишіться. Це дуже допоможе TikTok штовхати мій канал іноземцям, тому що чим більше підписників, тим більше відео показується. Thank you, John, so much. You had your first ever burrito? Oh my God. The YouTube channel is Yewleea, the same as here. If you are watching this live and you liked it, but you're not subscribed to me, please do so. It would very greatly help push my live to more people, and that would in turn very much help Ukraine. So if you are not able to donate to Ukraine, or if you're able but don't want to, that's fine too. If you're not able to support Ukraine by any other means, or you can but you don't want to, which is fine too, please support it by following me, because that way my lives are going to be pushed to more people, because the more followers I have, obviously the more the algorithm likes me, and the faster my channel grows, the more the algorithm likes me, and that means more people are going to be able to see the news about Ukraine, more people are going to be able to find out about Ukraine, and more people who want to hear about Ukraine but don't know where will be able to hear about Ukraine, because I'm live with news from my country for the past 24 hours every day. I also post videos on history, geopolitics, politics, context of what's happening, yeah. Also, peace upon us. She's hanging around here for money. She doesn't care about the war. Yeah, hanging around here with so much money that I quit my job, didn't renew my contract, and decided to do Ukraine full time. And actually, I have only made $120 for the duration of TikTok and YouTube combined, from TikTok and YouTube. Yeah, I made 120 bucks, okay? And you know how much money I've spent? Thousands, because I'm living off of my savings. So why don't you F off? Okay? All right? Are we done? Bye-bye. It was good to see you. If you would use a platform to get famous, to talk about the war, does not mean other people would. Unlike you, I'm not trying to beg anybody for anything. Adios. Also 60 will go towards taxes. No, I think if you make less than $9,000 from like a venture, then you don't have to pay taxes on it in a year. Anyways, okay. Well, love you guys. I do need to go. Actually, I don't think I can hang out for another 10 minutes because honestly, I am like sweating. I'm so hungry. I need to eat some food. But thank you to everybody who followed. Thank you for everybody who supports us. Thank you, everyone. You guys are fantastic. You guys are amazing. And glory to Ukraine. Glory to the Ukrainian heroes. Glory to the nation of Ukraine. And death to the invaders. And thank you so very much. I'm so happy with the news today, and I'll see you later tonight. Bye, guys.